Has Alec Baldwin completely lost it? Probably, but after 3 years of laying low, Baldwin seems to be returning to the political spotlight, and he's picking up right where he left off, making outlandish claims about Americans to bringing back his famously bad impersonation of Trump on SNL. The actor seems determined to stir the pot once again, and so today we're covering that in addition to proving why his recent impersonation is a cheap one. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I know I'm in a little bit of a different set right now. I am on vacation with my family, hanging out with my dad in the other room, so thank you all very much for watching. I am truly grateful for all of you.
Television news in the United States is a business. They have to make money. And again, not to go into great detail about that, but there's a hole, there's a vacuum. There is a gap, if you will, in information for Americans. Americans are very uninformed about reality, what's really going on. With climate change, Ukraine, Israel, you name it, all the biggest topics in the world, Americans have an appetite for a little bit of information. That vacuum is filled by the film industry. Not just the independent film industry, not just the documentary film industry, which are very important around the world, but by narrative films as well, where the filmmakers and the buyers, the studios and the networks and the streamers are willing to go that way, and they're willing to try to make films that are not only entertaining, but informative as well.
So these comments came during a recent press conference where the movie Rust was being promoted at the Torino Film Festival. There's actually a word for that Alec is referring to here, and it's called propaganda. You see, when the industry starts morphing news to inform audiences through films and shows, it's stepping into dangerous territory. The beauty in entertainment lies in its universality. Movies, music, and shows bring people together, regardless of your political beliefs, background, color, creed, anything. But when creators start injecting overt political messages into news, they alienate audiences. Nobody's sitting down with popcorn to get lectured about the latest political controversy. If people really wanted the news, then they would tune into a news channel. I am not saying that politically charged or socially aware movies should not be made. Absolutely the opposite, because such works certainly have their place, and they can be incredibly impactful when done correctly. For instance, Mel Gibson nailed it with Sound of Freedom, where he tackled a gut-wrenching and crucial issue, shedding light on a problem many people would rather ignore, starring Jim Caviezel, a great actor. Yet, I didn't see Baldwin rallying behind it, but hey, who am I to judge? To demonstrate the type of work Alec is talking about, he made a comeback on SNL a couple of weeks ago, and, well, I'll let his performance judge itself.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to tell you again, I'm so honored to be the head of the Health and Human Services Department. Americans need someone to teach them how to be healthy, someone like me, a 70-year-old man with movie star looks and a worm in his brain.
Bobby, I love you. I can't wait to see what you do with this country in terms of health and with regard to measles outbreak.
I care deeply about a woman's right to choose to give her child polio. I just wish people would take my appointment more seriously. All right, I gotta go. I got a dead dolphin in my car. I think I might saw it in half and dump it in Central Park. I'll let you know, I'll let you know how it goes. Thanks for the job, man.
That's the type of informative work Alec was referring to. I have to say, though, Shane Gillis dodged a bullet by skipping on the Trump role, and instead we got James Johnson, who arguably does the worst impression of President-elect Trump, and it's not even funny. Going back to Baldwin, his impression felt more like a missed opportunity than a comedic takedown. Sure, he brought up Bobby's controversial past comments, but it came off as low-hanging fruit, not taking into account the nuance of his actual positions. People were quick to take to X and post about how his performance was, quote, Alec Baldwin thinks people who voted for Trump are ignorant, but at least they don't appear on SNL with their flies down. Another user added, quote, you know your show has been shot dead when the best choice you believe to have is Alec Baldwin to do an impression he can't even do. I think satire works best when it captures the essence of a person and delivers it with razor-sharp wit. What we got here was more of a caricature stripped of substance and crafted purely to elicit laughs from an audience, primed to mock anyone outside of their political bubble. This was a clear attempt by them to brainwash people into saying why RFK Jr. is such a bad pick for the HHS secretary role, and they're clearly losing the battle on that front because even other people on the left are noticing the good he can bring to the table.
Look, I supported Kamala Harris. I wish that we were talking about her appointments and how wonderful they were, including for Health and Human Services, but also look for opportunities where we can. And if there's an opportunity to reduce harmful pesticide use with negative consequences on the ecosystem and our health, if there's a way to save people money on prescription drugs, if there's a way to improve nutrition, reducing consumption of processed foods and increasing health, I think we've got to find a way to work with anybody in the incoming administration.
That's Colorado's Governor Jared Polis, who was basically scolded in the CNN interview because he previously expressed support for RFK Jr. in a post on X saying he's excited by his appointment as HHS secretary. Quote, "What I'm most optimistic about is taking on Big Pharma and the corporate AG oligopoly to improve our health," adding he will face strong special interest opposition on these, but I look forward to partnering with him to make America truly healthy again, and I hope that we can finally find progress on these important issues. That is wild, isn't it? Here's a governor actually optimistic about addressing two of the biggest problems or elephants in the room, and instead of getting a pat on the back, he gets grilled by CNN for his enthusiasm. I've noticed that you still haven't liked the video or subscribed, by the way, so what are you waiting for? Heaven forbid someone on the left steps outside the pre-approved box of opinions. The irony is that RFK Jr.'s stance on these issues are not fringe. They resonate with most Americans who are tired of corporate greed dictating public health policy. Tackling them isn't a left or right issue. It's taking care of people's issues. To prevent any further lies from the lamestream media, I'm going to let the man himself say what he is on the agenda.
Donald Trump has said that he would put you in charge of the public health agencies. What exactly does that look like?
Well, he's been very specific in what he said. He wants me to do three things. One, clean up the corruption of the agencies, particularly the conflicts of interest that have turned those agencies into captive agencies for the pharmaceutical industry and the food industry, the other industries that they're supposed to be regulating. Number two, to return those agencies to the gold standard science, the empirically based, evidence-based medicine that they were famous for when I was a kid. And number three, to make America healthy again, to end the chronic disease epidemic. And President Trump has told me that he wants to see measurable, concrete results within 2 years in terms of a measurable diminishment in chronic disease among America's kids.
If real change in the health system is the goal, RFK Jr. might just be the guy to shake things up. His track record as a lawyer is filled with cases that show he doesn't back down when it comes to holding powerful corporations accountable. One of his most notable victories was against Monsanto, the agrochemical giant famous for its role in poisoning the environment and humans. And as part of a legal team, Bobby worked to expose the dangers of glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, which has been linked to cancer. In the end, Monsanto was slapped with a multi-million-dollar verdict, a rare win for consumers over a giant corporation. He's also been vocal about the dangers of processed foods, calling them out as a major contributor to Americans' health issues. He's not afraid to point fingers at corporate agriculture, food giants, or even Trump, calling his diet poison. Sure, some might not agree with his stances on vaccines, but Kennedy explicitly stated that his work is not going to affect their availability. I think the system needs someone to break the cycle of corporate greed, dictating policy, and Trump might have found the person to do it. So just skip the noise from the likes of SNL and Baldwin because they can't digest the fact that their era of influence on how people think is long gone. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And by the way, if you want your friends to cringe at Alec's lame impression, please share this video with them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next one.